What's up, guys? Today we're talking about people who have vehicles that are paid off within the last 5 years, and now those vehicles are approaching 80,000 miles. What do you do to avoid financial hardships of major repairs? How do you get this done? We're going to talk about it right now. So, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're talking about vehicles that are paid off within the last 5 years, and now these vehicles are approaching 80,000 miles. Got a lot of clients that have been calling over the past few months with major repairs over $9,000, and they have no plan in order to move to the next vehicle or pay for those repairs and continue to drive the car that they actively have. So, I'm going to go through what I call opportunity buying and give you some tips and some things that you can do to prepare yourself for when this happens to you, so you don't experience these financial hardships or these major disasters when these things happen. They say that emergencies take money out of your money faster than a speeding bullet. This won't make you completely bulletproof, but this will help you alleviate some of the stress as your vehicle ages and the miles start to stack up. So let's first talk about vehicle payments or paying cash for cars. When you look at what the average payment is in America on a vehicle, on a new vehicle, it's about $735. Nobody wants to do that, but it's going on every day, and that's just the averages. You can go look it up on Google. It's not something I'm making up. So why am I talking about this? If your car is totaled, or if your car is stolen, or if your car has a major repair that you don't want to deal with, those are the numbers you're going to be looking at. So the first thing I want you to write down is that you should stay in tune with what's going on in the marketplace, especially narrow it down to the type of car you're driving. The bigger the car, the more things that it will tow, the more weight it will carry, the more people it will sit, means it will cost more money. And so it's okay if you have these things written down in your diary or your log, and you're like, okay, my car dies right now. I know that the average payment on these types of cars like I'm driving that are 5 years newer are about $1,000 a month. So I don't want to do that right now. Awesome. You don't have to do that, but you should be prepared and understand it so that when it happens, it's not such a surprise. That's the first thing. The second thing is your vehicle hits 80,000 miles. It's time to do what I call an apex check-in. Means we need to evaluate the vehicle to see how much value we have in the vehicle. This number is always shocking, even for my own car right now, which is approaching 80,000 miles. I'm looking at that vehicle every 6 months ago. I'm running it through my evaluation software, and I'm losing money every month. Nobody wins this, guys. I'm going to show you how to mitigate it instead of winning it. Like, winning it means to me like real estate, like buying this building and it appreciating over time. To me, that's winning. Cars are just simply an expense that we have to pay in order to have transportation to go to and from, and to enjoy our lives and go on vacation and do other things. So it's okay to check in and look at the value of your vehicle when it hits 80,000 miles. So we'll take that number and we're going to write it down. And so for today's example, we're just going to use $20,000. And let's say you're driving a third row seat vehicle, and now your vehicle at 80,000 miles is worth about $20,000. Okay, so we put a check in that, right? The next thing we're going to do is look at what major repairs are coming up. So you can go to the different vehicle manufacturers or your service book in your vehicle, or you can call your service tech and find out what major repairs or maintenance is coming up that you should be performing that is recommended by the manufacturer. A good example of this is my unit. I just did differential services, transfer case, flush the coolant, flush your transmission. Spent about $1,200 on my vehicle before I took it out to Lake of the Ozarks on an 800-mile ride. And I wanted to make sure those things were done so I didn't have any surprises. But it cost $1,200 to get all that stuff done so that I could not have the fear of the vehicle breaking down. If you've never experienced having a rear end go out on a vehicle, I hope you don't ever have to. I've had to go through that in an older Suburban where that vehicle just lost a rear end going over a mountain pass. It was a week-long issue that we had to deal with, and I had not checked the differentials. So that's why I did that service on the vehicle. So if we're keeping a checklist today, let's talk about it. Do the evaluation of the $80,000 mile car. and know how much money we're sitting on. The next thing is to evaluate what we're going to have to spend on the vehicle for maintenance or potential major repairs. Like if you've been avoiding a sound or a noise or um, some leakage in your garage, you may see this stuff and you're just putting it away and not thinking about it. It's time to pull that band-aid off and uncover our eyes and look and see what these things are going to cost us and just write them down. I did not say go spend the money. I said write them down. That way we can start evaluating. So we write down these costs, we look at the value of our vehicle, and the last thing we're going to do is look at what a replacement cost looks like. You can look at this many different ways. What's it going to cost monthly to lease something like you're driving? What's it going to cost monthly to purchase something like you're driving? Or what's it going to cost to trade your car and write a check and pay cash to replace your vehicle? This is usually a very surprising number for all of us because SUVs that we're all driving now increase in total acquisition costs about 5% every single year. So over 4 years, it's 20% that these vehicles have gone up in actual acquisition costs. So that's something we have to start looking at so that we're not so shocked. I rarely get a client that sits with me and says, "Yeah, I knew that's what the car was going to cost." Everybody is shocked. Everybody sits down and says, "I'd like X," and we talk about what it's going to cost. It's always a surprise. So you can do yourself a favor by looking into it and writing that number down. So you've got three things written down right now, right? What the value of your car is, what the potential repair and maintenance costs are, and what the replacement costs are. So you can just sit back and look at these numbers. And now we can start looking for opportunities. Now that we have all of our data written down and we've just had a chance to have dinner and maybe a week or two has passed and you're just processing these numbers and you're looking at it, opportunity buying to me is finding the right time to move when the market is favorable, meaning there's rebates available or special lease factors, or there are an influx of vehicles, influx of interest in your particular car so you can capitalize on the value of that vehicle at the time. These are things that are liquid and fluid within the marketplace, and it changes month to month. Just got to keep our eye on it. Or, by the way, you could message me and we could evaluate your car and get you these numbers whenever you need them. That way, you can get this information so that makes this decision-making process very, very simple. Once you have your data, you have two decisions to make. We're at the apex moment of the vehicle, meaning it's not going to be worth any more money up to today, guys. After 80,000 miles, this car is going to keep depreciating to zero. So what we can do is we can decide, like a lot of clients tell me, we're going to keep it till the wheels fall off. If you've heard your friends say that, I understand. I'm going to drive this till the wheels fall off. I get it. That's cool. You can do that, but make sure that you're doing preventative maintenance so that you can extend that time that you can drive it until the wheels fall off. That's the first thing we want to do is attack those maintenance things that we actually put into our data bank. And we're going to also do the repairs that are coming up to make sure that we can continue to drive the vehicle and not have any crazy random expenses that pop up in our face, especially when we're going on a trip. That's the first thing. Second thing we're going to do, it's unpopular. We're going to open up an account and we're going to start putting money into it. Go back early in the video when I told you about average car prices in America, right? Once you decide to keep this vehicle to depreciate to zero, we're no longer going to be able to use that $20,000 and invest it into the next vehicle. So what we need to do is get ready to pay for the next vehicle when it happens. It's going to happen at the worst time. However, hopefully, if we do the preventive maintenance and we do the repairs, we can extend that time until we need to spend that money. So we got to start working on a down payment. So in America, $735 a month, guys. Start adding that to an account. You don't need to spend it. It's just going to go into your own account and start to grow. Talk to a financial planner. Maybe they can put it in a money market and grow the money a little bit. Fact checkers, people out there, you guys can decide how you want to grow the money. All I want to see is you exercise that strength of putting that money aside so that when this car dies, and it will, you'll be ready and it'll be a lot easier. Plus, we'll have a nest egg set up that we can use as a down payment. Or if we lease the car with no money down, we can just have that money available and continue to build that fund so that we can use it to maneuver through the next vehicle. Option two is replacement time. you know, you at 80,000 miles, the car's not going to be worth any more money. We look at this data and we see that these repairs that are coming up are cam phasers or expensive items like transmissions or whatever. You can actually Google your car and find out what the average time that things happen. You start Googling your car and what you're driving and how many miles are on it. Stuff starts popping up on the internet. Hey, man, these things have transmission problems at 120,000 miles. It's like, oh, really? How much is a transmission? $10,000. Okay, great. So either I have to have that money ready, or I've got to start maneuvering so that I can get out of this car before it hits X amount of miles. Or we're going to be super surprised and have to deal with it at that time. And guys, this is what causes us to have to buy cars in 2 days. The second largest purchase we make, we end up buying in 2 days because we have a random thing that happens that didn't have to be random. Marcus Aurelius says this: everything that's happened to us is our fault. And so we have to take ownership of this. All right. So option two is replace the vehicle. We said earlier this car's worth about 20 grand. We own it for cash. So let's see if we can trade in for something that we can afford the payments on and trade that car in on another third row seat vehicle that tows what you needed to tow. Find something that fits, get it as new as possible, 3 years old or newer, so it still has at least powertrain warranty on the vehicle, or a new car. Then you're resetting your timer. Now you've got protection from breakdowns and random repairs that cause all the money in our pocket to fly out of it in one weekend. So now you could also do a no money down lease. So that means the 20 grand that your car's worth, you can pocket that money, put it in the bank, pay off debt with it, do whatever you want, and then lease something that fits within your budget on a newer vehicle before you lose all that value in the vehicle that has 80,000 miles on it. This is what I call opportunity buying. If you like what I'm saying, please follow the channel, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. But my fight here is to get people to understand that these cars are not going to last forever. I know we do. We want them to last forever. Heck, I do too. But the random phone calls that I get on a weekly, monthly basis all say the same thing. We didn't know this was going to happen. I cannot believe the repairs this much. I don't know why these cars are costing so much today. People call me that and Ron, these prices are high, aren't they? I'm like, they're normal. They're absolutely normal. They've been like this for like 2 years. I don't know where you've been, but you got to start looking at this so you can protect yourself from financial hardship as you're moving through life. All right, guys, I hope you can tell from my excitement here, I'm very passionate about this one. It's not a very popular take because you've got to put money away and you've got to do preventative maintenance, which means spending money to maintain your vehicle, or you've got to be able to move when that vehicle hits its apex. These things cause you to actively have to do something. So I know it's not very popular, and I'm sorry for that. But if you need me, please leave me messages. Let me know if you need information on your specific situation. I'm always happy to talk to you about it. And if we can find a way to work together, we'll do that too. Follow me for more information like this. Have a great day.